Now, a Zimbabwean court has ordered that the body of former President Robert Mugabe be exhumed for reburial at the National Heroes Acre in Harare. And for more on this, I'm joined now by the editor of the Zimbabwe Independent, Dumisani Muleya. He's also from Newshawks in Harare, which is an investigative platform. Dumisani, thank you very much for joining us. So, did the court give its reasons for dismissing the appeal brought by Mugabe's widow to leave his body where it is, at his family home?
Yes, just a small point of correction quickly. I'm no longer editor of the Zimbabwe Independent newspaper, which I edited for a decade. I'm now managing editor for an investigative journalism platform called the Newswalks. Straight into the issue, yes, Emergency Court has ruled that Mugabe's body or remains be reburied from his Zimba rural village and be reburied at the National Heroes Acre in Zimbabwe in Harare. This is a culmination of a battle that has been going on since August 2019. Before Mugabe died, this is before he died, he spoke to his family members while he was in Singapore receiving medical attention that when he dies, he does not want to be buried at the Heroes Acre in Harare, which is ironic because he actually founded the Heroes Acre, modeled along North Korean lines in order to honor those who fought in the liberation struggle. So from there, 2019, then he dies in September 6, 2019. There's a fight over his body, and then the family wins. And then the chiefs are mobilized by the current president of Zimbabwe and his administration, Emmerson Mnangagwa, to continue fighting for a recovery of the remains of Mugabe so that they are buried in Harare. So it's a culmination of that battle, the court order today.
Right. Why is it such a big deal? Some people claim that ZANU-PF is trying to reclaim his legacy, but there's also talk that Mugabe owned a knobkerrie that was seen to be very spiritual. So I'm wondering, what's at the heart of this? Is it politics? Is it spiritual belief?
It's a combination of politics and occult stuff, or occultism. Zimbabwean politicians, especially Mugabe and his era, they are very superstitious. They believe in occult rituals as part of the politics that they practice along those lines since their days in the liberation struggle, fighting in Zambia and Mozambique. So it's a big deal for three main reasons. The first one is that Mnangagwa, even if he staged a coup against Mugabe, he cannot define his political career, his political case history without Mugabe. So he wants to reclaim the legacy of Mugabe because Mugabe basically symbolizes ZANU-PF. So there's a political attempt to reclaim that legacy in order to use it for political capital, especially going into the next elections in Zimbabwe in 2023. The second thing is that Mnangagwa himself, just like many other ZANU-PF politicians, they want to be buried at Heroes Acre there because for them it's a symbol of prestige, it's a symbol of heroism, it's a symbol of recognition. So the Heroes Acre without Mugabe, it is meaningless because he founded that shrine after visiting North Korea, of course, of all places under the sun. But we understand because he was aligned to the North Koreans in order to found that. So if you don't have Mugabe there, it doesn't have the same value to them, that is, as it would have if he's buried there. And then the third factor is the issue of occultism. Politicians here, like I've mentioned, they believe in superstitious stuff. They are very superstitious, highly superstitious. That is why even during the Mugabe era himself, they even at one time believed that diesel or fuel had been discovered oozing out of rocks in some province in the north, Mashonaland West province. And they believed that the cabinet meeting, they formed the cabinet committee to examine whether the gods as it were, had finally answered their prayers, because at that time Zimbabwe was going through very serious chronic fuel shortages. So you can see how they think. It's the nature of their politics that is a mixture of things that are scientific, things that are occultist, and voodoo.
It's ironic that Mugabe apparently wanted to be buried at his family home, to be near the burial place of his mother. I'm wondering if there's been any response from Grace Mugabe or his children to the fact that their appeal has been dismissed, and whether we know at this stage how soon his body is actually going to be exhumed now.
They haven't made any public reaction or comment to that. But we have been speaking to some of their family members in the background. The indications are that they will appeal. They will take that to the High Court in order to fight the order that was issued by a Chinoi Magistrates Court. I think they will not let it go because they are determined to stick to Mugabe's word, because they have been telling us since 2019 that Mugabe told them that his body or remains should never be released to the custody of Mnangagwa and his government, because they had staged a coup against him. So the family fought in a very fierce way to protect Mugabe's body at the time when it came for burial after his death in Singapore. So they are not going to let this go. They will certainly fight, and I foresee them going to the High Court. So it's going to be a very bloody fight over Mugabe's remains.
It's going to be fascinating, and thank you very much for giving us such fascinating detail about it, Dumisani Muleya. He's from the News Hawks based in Harare. The News Hawks is an investigative platform in Zimbabwe.